Step right up, folks! Your dream come true! Give a wedgie just 25 cents!
Wedgie?
What's going on, community? It's your lovely host, Octavius. We are back again here with another video on the Wedgie Club channel. We watched our recent video about the Wedgielutions or Wedgie resolutions, which if you haven't, go ahead and check it out. We'll link it down in the bio below. One of our biggest goals for the year is to make sure that we're being consistent with our content and output and also quality. Even though the Wedgielutions video just dropped yesterday, I will say that this is technically our first official video of 2025. Rather than boring you all while you're hanging by your undies in class again for the 30th time like we did last year, I think we should kick off our first official video of 2025 with something a little more interesting. So lately we have been noticing on social media that people have been posting more of like their favorite wedgies and which ones are like ranked on the top to the worst. Of course, they got everybody's tidy whities in a bunch because everybody was like, no, this is the best wedgie, and no, this one is the best wedgie, and the girls have just been fighting all throughout the timeline. In my opinion, I like to always say it's not the wedgie that becomes great, it's really the person that makes the wedgie great. To be honest, I've seen little wedgies like Jock Locks and regular wedgies look better than the Atomics, which everyone claims is like the best of all time, right? But I will say, nonetheless, there's definitely like a wedgie hierarchy between like the types of wedgies. So given on the club social media pages, we always like to post like the best wedgies that we've seen on the internet. But I thought since everyone else was sharing what was their ranking on the best wedgies, I figured why not the club do the same thing. Join us as we discuss the true rankings of the best wedgies. Before we kick this video off, please make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, as well as leave a like so that I know that you like this kind of content, you want to see more of it. And make sure you're following our social media so that you can stay up to date with events and things happening within the community. You know, first up, we got the D class. If you remember like Naruto in the first episodes when it was just like, suck! The D class was honestly so hard for me because these are actually some of my favorite ones, but I had to realize that on the ranking list, you know, being real, they weren't the best ones. Jock Lock and the regular wedgie honestly gives me Sasuke and Naruto when they were fighting Haku in like episode 18. Really trying their best to beat Haku, but Haku started pulling out those mirrors and it was over with by that point. You remember, Sasuke was kind of getting him at first, but that was because Haku was taking it easy, so that's how I kind of look at this kind of rank. You know, like they're great for like the starter kit or like the beginning of a show. Jock Lock kind of leans more into like the humiliation side of things rather than actually giving somebody a wedgie. And the regular wedgie is honestly like any TikTok video you done probably seen reposted on Instagram or Twitter. It's a great foundation, but it's not a guarantee of like the pain or the humiliation or any other aspects that really come with it. It's kind of hit or miss. So I like to look at the regulars more like a foundational kind of technique, and that's why it's kind of ranked in the D rank. So C rank, we got the Jonin, or whichever one, y'all. Don't kill me, I haven't watched anime in 30 years. But they're still weak. They're still not on Kakashi's level yet, but they're somewhere. To me, low-key gives Hinata and Neji, Sakura and Ino, Naruto versus Kiba. This class is definitely coming for the undies. The frontal wedgie or the Melvin wedgie involves a little bit more of a humiliation and pain aspect to it. In my opinion, it's a little bit harder to pull off than just a regular wedgie. If the receiver is wearing briefs, God bless them. Now with the hug wedgie, I love the deception in it. Like it makes you think that, oh my God, we're coming in for a hug, and then wedgie. Imagine it happening in public or with your friends. It's like a step up from a regular wedgie because this is kind of hard to get out of when somebody's like literally has their hands over your back. Literally like playing Tekken and you have to figure out how to get out of the grab. If they're really strong, they can do like King and do like all these different moves, giant swing, screwdriver, muscle buster. At that point, all you can do is just grab your briefs and hold on for mercy. Now the chair wedgie I love because it's like the kind of step before you take to like go into a full-on hanging wedgie. The reason why I low-key rank this as like a C class is because it's kind of hard to kind of base the chair wedgie. It's dependent on the height of the chair, how high your undies can go. Granted, I think a good chair wedgie will definitely be very, very painful. After 15 minutes, you know, there's not really nothing more to it. Like it just gets boring after that point. Again, it's dependent on how high the chair is, because if you have a low chair, then it really defeats the purpose because you're not going to get a real deep wedgie. Now we're moving on to the B class. This low-key reminds me of Naruto and Sasuke when they were on that cliff fighting for their lives. Those anime fights that take like 5 episodes to finally get through. First things up, we got the Dragon Wedgie. This wedgie gets a little interesting because it literally involves you having to pull somebody by their underwear, so there's no control over how strong it can go, how weak it can go, if they're even going to roll over something. This is extremely humiliating to be dragged by your own underwear, let alone tidy whities or briefs. To the giver, it makes them look really jockish and cool, and sometimes may even end in a ripping wedgie, so I give it a B. Aside from the wedgie itself being very, very good, you can get very draining after a while if you're pulling somebody for longer than like even like a minute. Like you get tired by that point, so. Pile drivers, we all love WWE, not me, I wasn't a nerd growing up. Pile driver is another true test of the strength of the giver. Literally traps the receiver inside of your clutches and honestly leaves them at your mercy. Bonus points if you're able to pick up the receiver. It does have many different variations. Again, it's one of those skills that require a little bit more strength, so please stretch with caution. The faded messy wedgie. You can hear it in my voice, this is not one of my favorites, but I did have to be fair in my choosing. The messy is critical for adding not only humiliation but also pain to the technique. Designed to destroy the nether regions, most cases usually make you question your life. Messies open up the world of wedgies to a plethora of options for the receiver, whether it's like marshmallow, something lame like that, or going as far as like hot sauce and mustard. Not super versed on this topic, but I am very aware of the power structure behind it. The nerds and the bullies love this one, the swirly wedgie. Now, I actually did do this to somebody, so I actually can comment on this one. Aside from the swirly being humiliating on its own, it makes it humiliating for the wedgies the fact that you have to choose which one hurts more, the swirly or the wedgie. Because both of them are happening at the same time, you're really kind of stuck because you can't do anything but just take it. Not to mention when it ends, your hair is like so wet and you got water dripping down on you, looking like you just got out the shower and ruining your outfit. You know, it's just not fun for those who don't like this. A-class, this is the smart group, this is the nerds, this is the dorks, the people that think they know everything. As we all know, the ripping wedgie comes synonymous to our lifestyle. Whether intentional or unintentional, the ripping wedgie always makes the giver feel accomplished and feel like that they did something. Shows a test of strength as well as abilities. You don't necessarily have to be Zangief to be able to rip somebody's underwear, you just have to know how to. In fact, if this is the area that you would like to improve in, I've made a ripping wedgie tutorial, which I'll definitely link down in the bio below. Ripping just hits on all marks. It's painful, it's embarrassing, it's humiliating. Forbid somebody picks up your ripped underwear and then throw it in the air or like show it to everybody. Fate that many people do not want to go through. Squeaky clean wedgie is like one of the most efficient ones in my opinion. Front and back is also its other name, literally a wedgie using your tidy whitey debris as a saw. Because of the physics with this technique, it low-key makes it harder for it to rip, which means it's more time for more pain. This one is definitely not for the faint of heart or cheap underwear. Great for the guys that like it a little rough and should not be underestimated. Bouncing wedgie is like peak cartoon bully culture. To be able to lift a nerd off of the ground, dangling by their underwear, begging for mercy from not only you but gravity, that is insane. What makes this wedgie so more insane is if the giver has so much control that they control when it rips. Y'all not hearing me. In my opinion, this is one of the wedgies that truly tests not only your strength, but also your abilities as a wedgie giver. Especially when the underwear finally rips and they get some relief, but they're still embarrassed because your underwear just ripped in front of all these people. If it's just between you and the giver, somebody knows, and the fact that somebody saw you like that, bro, that's embarrassing. Finally, we have the S-Class, the Super Saiyans, the Goku, Vegeta, which is my favorite Super Saiyan. So like the Godfather type wedgie skills. You are blessed to be able to do these or receive these, just know that you lived a good life. You cannot talk about top tier S-Class wedgies if you're not talking about the Atomic. That's a given. That's never going out of style. It's just one of those things where it will last until the end of time. And then after that, it is more embarrassing than you having on a new hat that you did not come in here with. See your whole world turn the color of your underwear. In my opinion, this is one of the worst wedgies you could ever be given. And all you can do is stare at the sky and wonder why. How did all of this happen? What did I do to get here? Do I need to say anything else? The Centaur got my ranking because when I thought about how it would look, I do understand the appeal. It's pretty much the same as the Atomic, except for it involves somebody else, and pretty much it's just very embarrassing. I don't need to keep going on that one. The Cross Atomic also falls under that, so again, do I really need to go over that one? The group wedgie is something that we ain't really seen too much since the 2000s. You're being lifted in the air by X amount of people, whether it's 5 dudes, 6 dudes, sometimes even 10 dudes. It's a nerd's dream and a bully's nightmare if he's on the receiving end of it. 9 times out of 10, because you're having multiple men do it, it usually ends up ripping, but it's so embarrassing to see. If you remember the old days of YouTube, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I remember going to Nerds vs. Bullies and doing my first actual group wedgie with like 6 other dudes, and man, that was like one of those things that just, you never forget, goes down in history. You had to be there kind of situations, especially when you see the receiver's face when it's happening. Like, bro, it's nothing like it. This is probably going to be my favorite because of the fact that it doesn't just happen on a regular day. Like, you can do an Atomic, a hanging, all these other ones on any given day. But a group that involves like a lot of people, a lot of hands, and man, when it happens, it's beautiful. It's one of those guaranteed lose a pair type situations. A lot of people sleep on shoulder wedgies, but to be honest, they're very S-Class. Think about it. You can go about your day in a shoulder wedgie. Many of us have done it where you walked around with a shoulder wedgie under your clothes and you're just able to go about your day, go to work, go to school. Nobody notices except for you when you bend down. While it's static because it stays in place, the more that you walk around and do things, the deeper that it goes. And after a while, when you've had it on for so long, bro, that, man, taking it off is like, whew. Talk about sweet relief. It's also great because it gives you a constant wedgie without you having to actually go to somebody to do it. It can involve you just being by yourself and doing it solo. Also plays into like the little bit of wedgie fashion. If you remember, we talked about that in the video. I'll drop that also in the bottom comments. But what I'm saying is that, you know, the shoulder also plays as like a little shirt for wedgies, if that makes sense. I don't know, maybe it's the giver in me, but I just love to see it on people. Finally, we're at the last one. If you're able to do this one, just know that you're probably like official on wedgie god status. If you are able to fully execute a hanging wedgie, and I'm talking about the one where your feet are not on the ground, but they're off the ground, like literally dangling, like you can't put your tippy toes on the ground, just know that you've reached a new level of wedginess. Probably top S-class wedgie of all time, or just wedgie in general, because of the fact that with a hanging, it's harder to execute for many people. A lot of people can do an atomic, all you need is a 5XL underwear, right? But to be able to do a hanging means that you have to understand physics, your weight, your abilities, all of that all in one. Not to mention the fear aspect of it, of you falling or your underwear ripping and you getting injured, etc., etc. If you think that you felt accomplished when you got your first atomic, imagine how you would feel when you get your first hanging and you actually cannot fall down. I did one time, and I hate to talk about this, but like I genuinely got stuck and I was sick because I actually wanted to get down and I could not get down because I was so secured. I think my boots were actually like stuck in between like the wood and the fence. Like, bro, it was embarrassing because people was driving by, etc., etc. But I say this all to say, like, if you're able to actually execute that and get it done and actually being a real one, bro, you'll never feel more accomplished than that. We've all seen that from childhood, and we wanted that to happen to us so bad. I know for a fact there was some of y'all trying to hang yourselves inside y'all houses. Don't be acting like y'all ain't do it. As you can see, here's my chart that I detailed throughout this entire video. What would your tier list look like? Would it look similar to mine? Would you upside it down? How would yours look? If you would like to make your own, I'll definitely link that also down below so that you can be able to make your own tier list and share it. Just be sure to tag the Wedgie Club because we're not going to be looking for that if you don't tag us. But reviewing this tier list made me kind of realize something. Aside from all the dramas and the crazies on the internet, I'm so proud of the wedgies that we have brought to life over the years. There's been more atomics given today than I've ever seen as a child, even watching television and cartoons. People have found ways to remote control and give themselves hanging wedgies as if somebody else is doing it to them. We have officially seen a flagpole wedgie. Did you ever think as a kid that that was even possible? Wedgies that we have dreamed of are finally making it to our realities. Every wedgie on this tier list has been done in real life before. Imagine what we'll do in 20 years or even 100 years from now. Don't take nothing else from this video. Please know that anything is possible. You can do anything in your life, even if it's just giving yourself wedgies. Whatever that you want to do, put your mind to it and actually put the work in, and man, you'll get there. That's it for today. If you enjoyed the video as we did making it, be sure to subscribe and give this YouTube a like so that the algorithm knows that you like this as well as myself. I'll see y'all in the next video. Stay wedgie. Happy New Year, and I'll talk to y'all in the next video.